Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and should we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today? Just got done with a D&D session, the chaotic group this time. It was actually not incredibly chaotic. It was basically just a lot of combat, to be perfectly honest, which is, you know, part of it was the fact that there was some combat which was left over from a previous session, which was like I thought they would get to, but then they didn't get to. So I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll start off with this combat, because that was a combat which I was like, in my mind, that makes sense for you to hit level 3 after defeating it. And then you also have there's like another combat which was, well, we'll get into that in a second. Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 10:54 p.m. on Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. Where basically it was just going to be a random encounter where I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to run this combat encounter or not. Maybe I'll just, because they were basically traveling on road getting to a location. And I was like, I'm not sure if I should run this encounter or not, or maybe I'll just sort of like let them be and just do it. And I was like, all right, just roll D100. And then I was going to be like, if they roll above 85, I think I picked in my head. So it was like a decent chance of a combat encounter, 15% chance or whatever. I was going to be like, okay, then they'll do the encounter. They rolled like 92, and I was like, all right, well, let's do the encounter. The dice have spoken. And if anything, it kind of makes up for it, because, well, not necessarily makes up for it, they just haven't had a lot of combat recently. So it's sort of like why not, this sort of thing. It's sort of, a lot of the previous ones have been social and investigative, or, you know, you act it out in some form or manner. Now it's going to be more combat focused, especially because I think the next session probably won't be that combat focused as well. I don't have a very good balance, I suppose, going on of necessarily. it's either the session is combat focused or it's not combat focused or something like that. I don't know. You might be like, which do you prefer? I do prefer the non-combat sessions, the role-playing sessions, that sort of thing, obviously, because I like roleplay. But that's not to be the fact that other people don't like combat and don't want to do cool things during combat as well. I mean, obviously, it's early level, so your amount of options and things are certainly a bit more limited, I would say, than usual. So it's not like you could do particularly interesting things, but, you know, I do want an eventual sort of drip feed of more interesting, you know, magic items and stuff to make things more engaging. I'll say probably the most interesting thing which happened at this time is due to level up. One of the subclasses one of the players chose. I'll tell you, because I suppose it's not really that big deal. It's he's playing a ranger and he chose the Drake Warden class, which at first, you know, when he selected it, I was like, that's gonna be interesting. I don't know even what this class is, and I looked and I was like, oh, it's from Fizzbang's Treasury of Dragons, which is the newest book, which I don't really know anything about. I had a read through it and I was like, okay, this doesn't seem like that strong or anything. I think that's probably fine as it is. There's no Twilight Cleric, of course. So I was just like, okay, yeah, let's roll with it. And we've only got 4 minutes. We need to make it back in time to actually sell stuff at Nook's Cranny. Yeah, I was just like, okay, this doesn't seem too bad, and that sort of thing. But it's very interesting because this player has given me very little backstory, essentially no backstory whatsoever, and now it's something that I can basically craft myself, which I didn't realise for a while until like the third session, because he did message me at some point, basically being like, oh, you know, I'll get back to you with a backstory, and then he just never did. So I was just like, does this person have a backstory? Does he not? I don't know if I should like come up with a backstory or not. I came up with a backup backstory just in case he didn't, but now it's like sort of officially confirmed. It's sort of like up and yeah, I can do whatever. So I was basically thinking for ages, being like, how do I get a dragon into this story somehow? Because him as a character has like no relations whatsoever with dragons or draconic things. But I'm like, I'm not going to like fly in your face and be like, oh, you can't pick that one because it doesn't make sense for your character lore-wise. I'm going to be like, I'm going to make it make sense lore-wise. Obviously, I can't say why it makes sense lore-wise now, but they've met that character. And it's interesting because it's sort of like a DM NPC, right? Because as it's described, it's basically like this character kind of sort of uses reactions and things of its own, and movement, I think, of its own accord, but it doesn't take action of its own accord. It will otherwise only dodge every attack unless the other player uses bonus action to command it to do something, to attack, which is cool. It's interesting. And roleplay opportunities, I think, are certainly the most interesting of it. The story wasn't cooked up necessarily from the beginning, but I've now sort of like injected it, and I'm in the process right now of interweaving it within the ongoing plot threads, I think. So we'll see how that happens. But yeah, apart from that, I wasn't particularly chaotic. Like, I planned way more for the session than necessarily it came to be, because, as I say, with this group, you never know what's going to happen. They spend the entire session fighting, and then you let your guard down and be like, oh, I don't need to prep that much. This is going to be a combat-heavy session, and then they'll just, like, completely ignore the combat encounter or something, and then it's like, okay, now I've got to improvise everything. So I was just like, okay, get a lot of things ready, because even if I'm not going to use them this time, I'm going to use them in the next session, which is what's going to happen probably. Yeah, I don't know what else I was going to say. There's a lot of like updates going on with these gacha games recently. Like Project Sakai is going to have a 3.5-year anniversary soon. Star Rail's had its new update, which I've not had the chance to really check out, to be perfectly honest. I know some of my friends have been doing a few pulls here and there. I don't know if anyone's been pulling the Acheron, to be perfectly honest, but maybe they have, maybe they haven't. We have literally 1 minute to get to Nook's Cranny to try and clear our inventory of all these flowers. I don't know if we'll make it or not, but we'll certainly try. Oh, wait, what? I thought Nook's closes at 11. Oh, it's 8 to 10. Never mind. So I guess we had no time. We had no shot whatsoever. What Nook missions do we have? What are we going to talk about? I don't know. Dragons are pretty cool. I don't really know where I'm going to go with this dragon thing. I can tell you an anecdote, I suppose. Which, well, I guess I got like 2 anecdotes from my childhood to do with dragons, which is weird to say, because I'm going to be honest, I wasn't like that crazy about dragons when I was younger. Not to say that I didn't like them or anything, but, you know, I wasn't like particularly enamoured by them in that much sense. I thought they were like cool mythological creatures, but I'd thought of them about as equivalent as most other mythological creatures, to be honest. But I remember one of my friends really liked dragons. There was like this dragon book series which he read, and I would ask him about it, and he would like talk to me about it. I can't remember what it was called. Let's see. Young adult dragon book series. I think it was like Warring Clans of Dragons. No. Dragon and Thief, but Dragon Champion. I actually genuinely cannot remember what it was. But Dragon Chronicles? Maybe it's a Dragon Chronicles. That seems reasonable. Was it Wings of Fire? Because I know Wings of Fire exists, but I thought Wings of Fire was like an online game or something. I think Wings of Fire was far after our time. I generally don't remember what it was, but the only thing I remember is that he really liked the dragons, because we had this lesson in graphics, which is like design class essentially, where basically we had to design a book cover or something. But the catch is we all chose a book and then gave a short synopsis of a book that we read, and then we would give it randomly to someone else in the class, or not someone else in the class, I think we just exchanged within friends or something, and then we designed a book cover for it. I remember the book I chose to give to someone else was Hurricane Gold. Actually, I feel like I remember which friend drew it as well, and I vaguely remember what he drew. But Hurricane Gold is like a young James Bond book by... I know. Hold on. No, it's not going to come to me. Young James Bond. Wait, Ian something, isn't it? Young James Bond books. Charlie Higson. Wait, really? It was Charlie Higson. Wait, what am I thinking of? I don't know what I'm thinking of. I actually really liked those books when I was younger, to be perfectly honest. So I read, wait, what Nook missions do we even have? I just immediately forgot. Chopwood. Okay, we can Chopwood. And Hurricane Gold, I think, was my favourite one. It was the one where he went to like a private island, wasn't it? And then he tried to essentially escape with this other young girl or something, right? And they had to, oh, that's it. They had to like pass this series of trials, which seems very recklessly stupid of them to do. But all I remember is that young girl was also like kind of a badass, to be perfectly honest, as well. She was very sassy or something, from what I recall. And they actually had like they were like a good duo squad or something. And like I'm trying to remember, but they had to tackle these trials. The first one, and that was it. Like it was like, if you want to exit, the island, like get off the island. You had to pass these like 10 trials or something, but like no one ever had or something. And they spent the time, like sometimes when it happens, you can like watch it happen. I suppose like a spectacle or that sort of thing. And they like watched someone like try and do it or something. And they also like studied paintings about what the trials were. Let's see how many of them I can remember. The first one, I think the first one. I also feel like the book started off with some, like a writer or something going through the trial. But the first one was like spikes slowly start to appear from the ground, I think. No, the first one is you had to swim through like some water which had something in it. I don't remember. All I remember is that James Bond, and for some reason I feel like the girl was called Princess. I don't actually know if that's true. I also feel like she had a younger brother, and I can't remember how a younger brother got off the island. I think he got like smuggled off or something. But they wore like some sort of insect repellent to dissuade whatever insects or creatures in that water from attacking them. And then once you get to the other side of the water, challenge number 2 is spikes start appearing from the ground, and the walls are like means there's like walls around, so you can't like, I don't know, go around them or dodge them or something like that. So you just sort of had to sprint forward. It's basically, it's like the spikes itself aren't all that dangerous, but it's just to make you sort of like hustle and move. So you don't think much about the fact that when you go to the third section, it's like the army crawling obstacle, where it's like with nets on the ground, you have to be really low to the ground, except for there's like dozens and dozens of scorpions or something in there which sting you as you crawl through. And I remember that James and Princess, again I don't know if that's her name, did like a really cool strategy to get around it, which honestly seems way too reckless. But basically they sort of wedged their shoulders next to each other and like pushed themselves, they basically spider climbed up the wall, the two of them, with the power of tension, by locking their shoulders together and locking their arms around each other to make sure they were like a solid bridge, and then using their feet to sort of walk up the walls and then over the wall clearing, the wall enclosure for the scorpion, so that they didn't have to crawl through the scorpion like den thing. It was something like that, right? And then the next one, I think, was a misleading one, where it just seemed like there was nothing when you start walking, but then they realised that the underside, that the ground they're walking on was being like heated up, like it was like scorching metal, so it like burned through your shoes, so you basically had to sort of like sprint across, and then like if you weren't fast enough it would like burn the bottom of your soles or something. And I remember what James and Princess did is they would put like a metal sheet or something in their shoe to help not conduct the heat, and then they just like move really quickly or something and precisely. I don't remember, something like that. And then the one afterwards, I think it immediately goes into a snake pit, which is where the person at the beginning of the book died. He fell into a snake pit and then he just like got eaten or something. And then after that, now it gets difficult. What number are we on? Okay, so we had the water thing at the beginning, then we have the spikes, the scorpion, the heated thing, then the snake pit, then I don't know if there's actually 5 more. I can remember the last one vaguely. I can remember 2 other ones. So maybe there was only 8 trials. Because the next one, I think, was the honey bath, where basically they had to swim a length of a swimming pool, but in like really thick honey. So it was just incredibly exhausting. And then one after that is they had to like travel across like a rolling log, which was covered in fire ants or something. And I remember James Bond nearly died at this point of the book. You know, imagine that. Is because if you fall off, you get like fall into a spike pit or something. And I remember it being just like the most ridiculous way he ends up surviving. It's like, oh, he starts falling, but suddenly Princess grabs onto his ankle and manages to hold onto him, despite the fact that she's like, I don't know, 10 or something, and he's like 15. I don't really remember. And she managed to sort of like swing him onto like one of the axes, I suppose, of a log. So he sort of survives. And then at the end, they like jump into a pyramid or something, and they basically had to survive an alligator there, and it's like, whoa, the alligator, that's the hurricane gold. And I can't remember how they escape. I think like someone blows up like a wall or something, you know, and all the water gets drained out or something like that. Let's see how accurate I was. Hurricane gold. Prologue on the Black Tears and Island of Criminals, how is it? Oh yeah, and the boss informs a lunch guest that one of them's broken a rule about contacting the outside world. I forgot about that. And then I think this guy was the one who was doing it, and they all he pretended that he poisoned the one who was actually betraying them, but he didn't actually, or something. And he has to do the deadly obstacle course. Oh, there's a jaguar he was killed by halfway through. I don't remember. I vaguely remember the jaguar. I feel like I remember James Bond grabbing a stick or something, like one of the spikes from somewhere, I can't remember, to like fend off a jaguar. Fishing manager. Angel Coroner. A young pickpocket who closely resembles James steals chairman's bag. Coroner subdued and soon arrested. James has left and trays Hermanus with Stone's children. What? We quickly remember Stone's daughter, Precious, that's it. It's spoiled not Princess. Or younger brother Jack. JJ is immature and annoying. Yeah, he gets the children. Devastating hurricane. People trying to steal the safe. Takes the Stone's children to a town in Jack Stone's Duesenberg, where JJ was rescued by James' sailor friend. What? When JJ and Precious are captured by 4 robbers, James passes himself off as Angel Corona to join the gang, and Garcia tags along. The name of the other... I don't remember this. The Japanese gangster befriends James and teaches him jujitsu. Okay, but apparently there's a lot of this book I don't remember. I don't remember the obstacle course, really. What is this? I don't remember any of this part with Garcia or whatever. What's that? Attacks James and drowns to death. It's also the book where, like, a lady dies by, like, being pierced by a load of sea urchins or something. I also feel like I remember them at some point eating a lizard, cooking and eating a lizard. I don't remember any of this. Escape and camp out for a while. Precious gone through a change of character. She's no longer self-centered. Kissing him? Okay, I don't remember that part. That's probably a bit weird. Actually, I don't know how old Precious is. I guess in my head I always pictured her as 10 and James Bond as like 15, but that might not actually be true. Now I think about it. They could actually be around the same age. I just never really thought about it. She was killed by an army of ants. I don't remember this. They go to the island alone. Mrs. Glass? Who? Manny dies. I don't know who Manny is. When they run out of money, they're forced to work as slaves. Running La Avenida de Muerte is the only way to get off of the island, but no one's ever survived it. Precious steals a map of the obstacle course from a bathroom she's cleaning. Oh, that was it, yeah. I sort of vaguely remember that. Trick El Hurricane into running with course. And they successfully traverse many obstacles. Okay, so there were 10 obstacles. I forgot 2 of them, probably. Oh yeah, and they do explode something. And they woke up with Precious. I guess I never really thought about it, but I guess Precious must be around the same age as James Bond in this book. I always, for some reason, pictured her as like a much younger. Seeing as they have a kiss at the end. Okay, so a small pool of savage baby crocodiles that bite the ankles. Okay, that's what I remember. And they douse themselves in animal repellent, yeah? A long path of holes, sharp spikes shoot through. And they form a human arch along the walls, allowing them to walk across out of reach of the spikes. I remember that. Tunnel of scorpions. They climb over the top of the tunnel, so they don't get scratched. Giant anaconda pit, okay. I forgot you had to go immediately from the scorpion tunnel to jump on top of a pit. And powerful metal plates are being heated by below, making them hot enough to fry almost anything. And at the end there's a trench full of water containing leeches. I don't remember that one. And they got around this by cutting inserts of thin metal sheets into the soles of their shoes so that they insulate their feet and prevent their soles from their feet or burning. Transparent razor-sharp wires across it. A path of transparent razor-sharp wires across it. I vaguely remember this one now, where they had to do some sort of like Matrix spy stuff to sort of get through it. And they get really scratched up from it. Black Jaguar at the entrance that will attack anyone who doesn't traverse the path quick enough. They have no means of conquering this other than practice beforehand. And then I think from this point onwards, they just oh yeah, because then that's what happened to the traitor at the beginning. Is he saw the Jaguar and he just started sprinting and running when he ran into the razor wires, and he just got like deaded from that. A path containing a series of millstones, 2 spinning clockwise and the middle one spinning anti-clockwise. 3 enormous grindstones to the left-hand side of them that could crush the victims if they got too close. We just had to rely on speed and balance. I straight up do not remember that challenge in the slightest. Enormous tank full of honey. By stripping down to their underwear so that no loose clothing can weight them down. A log covered with army ants over wooden stakes. They found the challenge the hardest of lot as they had to crawl along the log and put up with biting ants. Could have from previous challenge while not trying not to fall off. I remember that one as well because I was like, that's pretty clever. And I think they say it in the book as like having the honey before the ants. And the final challenge is the giant crocodile in the pyramid or something. And there's a chamber with no exit. So they rig up a door with dynamite and detonate it, completing a rat run. I like vaguely remember this. That's crazy how much of it I do remember. And how much of the other stuff I don't remember whatsoever. Hurricane Gold. Anyway, sorry, the long and short of it was like, I remember my friend drawing a book cover of this, and they basically drew like a silhouette of an alligator at the bottom, and it said Hurricane Gold at the top. That's what I remember. Or maybe that's something I did for like a bookmark competition. I honestly don't remember any. Charlie Higson. Good times. I need to find out like how old is Precious? Because why did I think she was like 10 or something? James Bond is a teenager. A Precious Stone is very much also a teenager. I had no idea why I thought she was like 12. My worldview has been shattered. Characters. Feed a glass. Precious Stone. That's crazy. My mind is actually straight up blown. I can't believe that. My worldview has been shattered. But anyway, I'm going to have this episode up here. I didn't realise I was going to be talking about Hurricane Gold for this entire episode, but here we go. If you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.